Honestly, the amount you're getting in this collection is absolutely incredible. Honestly, there are so many goodies that you can play with, working them together, mixing and matching to create the most incredible cards or other projects. It could be home decor, it could be scrapbook pages, it could be gifting. So many possibilities when you've got all of those fantastic goodies to play with. But here I'm going to create a card and we're going to bring in some of our acetate to create an acetate bridge card. I love the fact that we're getting some of our fantastic holographic furled acetate within this collection, because it means you can create lots of fancy concepts, all those like floating style cards you can do with ease with this amazing acetate. But let's start off with the card base itself, and as always I've used a sheet of our A4 multi-purpose card. It's the one I favourite when I'm creating my own card bases, and I've cut it down to size so that it is a 5 inches by 6 3/4 inch card base. But this front section here, I've not kept that full length of the cardstock. I've just cut that down so that top flat there is only 1 1/4 inches in height. And then what I've done is I've taken another strip of cardstock that once again is 1 1/4 inches in height, and that same width there of 5 inches. And all we're going to be doing a little bit later on, once we've got our mats and layers on, because I do find it easier to do my mats and layers first and then pop my acetate in. What we'll be doing is we'll be bridging that gap using some of that beautiful acetate. But talking of mats and layers, let's start to build those together now, and then let's bring in our absolutely gorgeous paper pad here. So what I've used for this one is I've actually used our 6 by 6 inch paper pad. Wow, look at the level of detail you've got in there. It is absolutely beautiful. As always, the reverse is that almost like the background from that front side of your paper. So if you want a slightly more scaled back, a slightly more subtle design, then go for the reverse of your papers, and that's going to allow you to perhaps place more busy items over the top, lots of embellishments, so it's not going to detract from your focal element. We're going to lay that onto some of our silver glitter card. You will of course find our silver glitter card over on the website at A4 in size, and it just gives you that lovely magical look and feel to this particular project. I think it works perfectly with this style of collection. The fact that I've gone for the silver rather than gold is because we've got the lovely cool tones, those lovely cool blues, purples, greens in this collection, so it works a little bit better than perhaps your gold cardstock. But of course do have a play around, find whatever works best for you. Then after our lovely silver card, we're then layering that onto some of our turquoise card that is part of that fantastic linen card that is included within the collection. Then once we've layered those 3 mats and layers together, that's going to be stuck into the inside of our card base just like so. So some of our Collal all-purpose glue is going to go onto the reverse of there, and that's going to be layered onto the inside of our card base, and that's like the scene setter. That is going to be the background for the detail that we'll be building over the top. Then what we're going to do now is going to bring in some smaller mats and layers to go on those smaller panels that we've got as part of this particular card shape. So we've got some thin little strips here. For these particular elements, we're actually going to use the reverse. We want these to be a little bit more subtle in design, and the fact that I've used the reverse actually allows me as well to use up my scraps. These were just the offcuts when I was trimming down my larger piece, and because the reverse is kind of unidirectional, it doesn't matter that they are perhaps upside down on the other side, because the reverse can be used in any orientation, which I think is fabulous because it allows you to get even more from each and every single sheet of that paper pad. There really is no waste at all. Same idea there with our mats and layers. We've got our pattern paper onto our silver, onto our blue, and we've actually done that twice, so we'll have one to go on the top and one to go on the bottom. So everything's going to be matching and mirroring together nicely. So once again, let's bring back in that Collal all-purpose glue. Ideal for your matting and layering. If you're not as confident when it comes to lining up all of those mats and layers and getting them perfectly straight and level first time, don't worry, because you've got that little bit of manoeuvrability with this wet glue. So you can just slide them into position until you're happy with where they are laid down. Same again with that bottom section there. Let's just pop our mats and layers onto that element there, which will be the bottom part of our card base. And then it's time to bring in the acetate. Sounded like that was going to be the start of almost like a game show or something. Bring on the acetate.
Bring on the acetate.
Love the fact that with this fantastic acetate, it is a construction weight, heavyweight acetate. So it allows us to create concepts like this. We know that our card is going to be nice and sturdy because we've got that lovely high micron heavyweight acetate. When it comes to your fantastic acetate, I would recommend a tape, a strong tape to adhere this into position. So I'd go for either a red liner tape or one of your tape pens. Because our tape pens are super strong, it means that it is going to stick your acetate into position nice and firmly. I don't tend to use my wet glues with acetate. I just find they don't dry quite properly, and something like your finger lift tape might not be quite strong enough. So red liner tape or one of your tape pens is going to be the way to go when it comes to your acetate. So that's our card base all laid up like so. Love that effect of having your holographic foiled bubbles against that background. I think it gives you so much depth and interest. But let's start to build that card a little bit more. So what we've done is we've taken some of the stamps within the collection. We've taken that gorgeous mermaid, we've stamped her out, we've die cut her, and we've added some of our tri-blend pens over the top. You do have some of your TriColour Aqua based pens included in the collection. So if you want to do a little bit of watercolouring, stamp her out onto watercolour card with one of your waterproof ink pads, and you can start watercolouring with those pens. As well as the pens included, you do get your duet ink pads, which you can also use to watercolour as well, which gives you even more options when it comes to colouring. But just showing you a different technique there of using some of your alcohol markers. Then I've just taken from the Ocean Dreams stamp set, I've taken a few of these gorgeous little fishes. I've stamped them, I've coloured them in, and we're just going to fussy cut these out. So a few tips when it comes to fussy cutting is always to move your paper rather than your scissors. That's going to give you that smaller, that smoother cut around the edge even. Do have a little play around with different types of scissors. I tend to favour my 6-inch size scissors when it comes to my fussy cutting. I just find that I get a smoother cut around the edge, but perhaps you're going to prefer our precision snips for your fussy cutting. Just have a little experiment with whatever works best for you.
That's what Craig uses, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, I think.
And then one of our team uses the big ones.
Yes.
Is that Debbie Fisher?
It might be Debbie Fisher, yeah.
So we've kind of got the full house now if you're using the middle ones.
Absolutely, but that's why we say just have a little play around, find what works best for you. If you find the smaller scissors easier, then absolutely go for that, but just have a little experiment and a play around. But now it's time to start building up our card base. So let's take our gorgeous little mermaid here, and what we're going to do is going to add a little bit of shape to her using our pokey tool. So just literally bending and shaping her to give that little bit of dimension onto that. And then all we're going to do onto the reverse is we're going to take some of our foam pads to actually give her that little bit of depth and dimension onto the reverse. So let's just lay those onto the centre there, and she's going to be sat onto that bottom left hand side of the card, overlapping ever so slightly with that acetate. So we've got a sort of sat against there, just like so. Lovely. And then we've also got a sentiment also included as part of the collection, and I love the fact that we've included sort of fun and appropriate sentiments to the collection. So it's not just your happy birthdays, it's things with like birthday wishes and mermaid kisses, things to do with the ocean, things to do with the sea, so it's all going to work together perfectly. Then let's bring in a few of these gorgeous little fishes that we've coloured in with fussy cut out, and the same technique here of giving them a little bit of shape by just curving the edges. You could be using your ball tools and foam mats to do that technique if you find that a little bit easier, but I find it quite simple to just mould them and shape them, rolling them around your pokey tool. But of course, as always, it's whatever you find easiest when you are crafting. Yeah. So a few foam pads onto the reverse of here. Just going to cut that down to size. And I know I always tend to use the large foam pads and cut them down when I could just be using small foam pads, but hey, that'd be too easy, wouldn't it? Always making life too hard for myself. What am I like? So
what are you like?
I'm turning to Debbie Robinson as well. There we go. Spent too much time with that lovely lady earlier this week, but here we go. Let's just lay these onto our card just like so. Like the idea of having them swimming, almost like they're swimming towards each other. So let's have these bottom two facing each other.
You've made your own little aquarium.
Oh yeah, it's cute, isn't it? I mean, you could be creating little 3D creations like that to actually create aquariums and like faux fish tanks. I think that would look super, super cool. Yeah. Then to finish this off, all we've done is we've taken some of the coral reef die set. We've die cut some of these from white card, we've die cut some of our silver mirror card and some of our linen card as well. And we're just going to have these just sat behind our gorgeous little mermaid here, just to sort of frame her and give her that extra little bit of detail. So let's just lay that behind there, just like so. And you can see even with that really fine dye onto that fantastic glitter cardstock, you still get all that level of detail. It still cuts like an absolute dream, which is fabulous. Let's have another one just tucked behind her, something like so. And then finally, just to finish it off, let's bring in this one that we've cut from some of our linen card. Don't forget, all of your linen card is included as part of this collection. A4 in size, beautiful blue and ocean sort of theme colour tones that's going to work amazingly well with those fantastic papers that we've got included, and the ink pads and the amazing glitters and all those other goodies included as part of this collection. Just using a few of the items that are included as part of the whopping 29 in this range goes to show what a stunning collection this one is. Wow, I absolutely love this fabulous Enchanted Ocean.